Hello, it's me. I don't know what that intro was, but it happened, so I'm keeping it. Okay, I'm gonna turn the fan off because it feels weird talking in silence, so hold on. I want to talk about failure and why failure isn't a bad thing, and then how to overcome your insecurity involving failure. There are so many things, so many roadblocks, so many circumstances that are worse than failure, but I feel like most people think that failure is like the end-all be-all of mistakes and problems, and I just don't believe that's true. Because failure is like inevitable, especially when you're first starting and you don't know what you're doing. Like, how are you supposed to succeed if you never fail? Like, you would be a superhuman, not making any mistakes. It's just not possible. I don't feel like I ever really had a fear of failure, just because I was forced to just jump in, especially like with my business and stuff, so I knew it was going to happen because I honestly had no idea what I was doing in the beginning. And so I personally used failure as a stepping stone to success. And what I mean by that is I used it as a form of information gathering. So what would happen is something would go wrong, and then I would have a list, and I would write out what went wrong and what I needed to do next time to fix it, and that is how I smoothed out a lot of the wrinkles in my business, is because things did go wrong, and I would write them down and fix them for next time, and so then I was just that much closer to getting things right, and then something way out of nowhere would go wrong the next time, and I would write that down too. And basically my entire business structure was built on that trial and error system. For me, I just never really had the mindset that failure was the end game. I always thought of it as a way to teach me what I needed to do better and then implement that. And then, because I always saw beyond failure, because there is a place beyond failure and it's called success. Failure can be bad if you stop trying and you fail that way, but then again, you have to be smart enough to know, like, maybe you weren't meant to do that thing, and so by quitting or like pivoting, then you were making the right choice, so then it wouldn't be a failure. So I think that like actual permanent failure is very elusive. It's very hard to define, because I also feel like there are no mistakes. There are mistakes that we make, but like I feel like everything is going to bring you back to where you need to go, and so when you fail, it's not really a fail, it's a way of like bringing you back to the right path. They're kind of shifting your perception. You can use the analogy of driving. I always go back to cars. Okay. But if you were driving a car, like on a mountain road, and you have guardrails, and say like you mess up because you're like reaching for your phone or something, and you hit the guardrail, that's what I view failure as being. I view it as being a guardrail, so it's going to stop you from completely like ruining your life by falling off the cliff, but it also will take you back to the road you need to be on. And like when you hit the guardrail, it's going to be uncomfortable, or you're going to be like, oh shoot, why did I do that? Why was I careless? And all of these thoughts are going to go through your head about, you know, making a mistake, but ultimately it's going to lead you back to the road, back to the better path. And what's really interesting to me is like we have to think about why we're so scared of failure, because if we know it's technically not going to kill us or do anything permanently bad to us, why do we have such a fear of it? And I think that's what we need to really sit down and analyze, because fear of failure is coming from insecurities within you, and if you can address those deeper rooted insecurities, it'll kind of change your mind about how you view failure. It'll change your perception. And I do believe that a lot of the fear of failure comes from other people seeing us, like people judging us for not doing something correctly. I really feel like it's that and less of, oh my gosh, this thing is going to permanently ruin my life. I think we're just scared of judgment and like what other people are thinking when we do something wrong. And for that, you really have to do a lot of self-work and become confident with who you are and trust that people are going to like you even if you make mistakes, because I think that's where a lot of the worry comes from, is we think, you know, we're going to get judged if we mess up, but everyone messes up, and so we need to extend that. We need to trust that other people are going to realize that as well. Like, be gentle on yourself. You're the hardest person on yourself. I guarantee you no one's going to care that much about whether or not you're succeeding or what you're doing wrong or the mistakes you're making. Like, really the only person paying attention to that is you, even though it feels like everyone is paying attention to you, because it's not how it works. Everyone has those thoughts, so everyone else is thinking about themselves and worried about themselves and how other people are seeing them. They're too wrapped up in that to judge you, and the people that are going to judge you for making a mistake are usually the people that are very insecure inside, because happy people don't hurt people, hurt people hurt people, and that is so true. That's one of my favorite quotes. Like, I'm not perfect, but I realized, like, the only times when I, you know, was petty about something was when I personally had insecurity surrounding that topic, and so just realizing that, one, it makes it easier to stop it yourself, like, if you're partaking in that behavior. Once you know that, like, there's an insecurity there that's making you want to act that way, you can really sit down and analyze what that is and get to the root of the problem. And then instead of taking it out on other people and just being petty and not a good person, you can, you know, check yourself and figure out what you need to fix internally to fix what you're projecting and how you're treating other people. But it also makes you realize that when people are mean to you, it's not your problem, it's their problem. So know that if someone is judging you for your mistakes or your failures, that it's them. It's their own insecurities, because people who are succeeding don't have time to sit there and point fingers at what you're doing. They don't have the time to invest in what you're doing. And so if you have someone who's doing that, who's constantly like on your back or like picking on what you're doing or discouraging you or judging you for failing, you're already ahead of that person, because you're the one doing the work and they're the ones sitting there judging you because they're too scared to do the work themselves or they have insecurity surrounding that. And that's, you have to realize that's where a lot of the judging is coming from, because a lot of it, the times it comes from people who want what you have, whether that's a quality or a lifestyle or success or just the bravery to go for it, to follow your dreams and like not be stuck in a 9-to-5, because they weren't brave enough to do the work that you're doing. And so the only thing that they can do is try and discourage you from doing it, because they don't want to see you prove that it's possible, because that means they could have gone for it and they chose not to. And so they're going to try and discourage you and judge you, and you just cannot let that get to your head. Like, it's okay to be hurt by it and whatnot, but you need to surround yourself with people who will lift you up. And so if it's a friend or a family member, like, that's a big thing. Don't let them in on what you're doing. And I guess, okay, that's going to bring us to the tips to avoid feeling bad about failure. So tip number 1 is you need to figure out why you are scared of failure. Like I said, it's probably linked to a person judging you. So sit down and really think about who it is. I guarantee you a person's going to pop into your head. When you think about failing, who is the person or the thing that you don't want to be there when it happens? Like, pay attention to that, realize, because it may be something that you need to think about that you haven't really thought about. I know I really am not scared of failure, but there are like 1 or 2 people that I really don't want to mess up in front of, because I don't want to look bad in front of them. And I only realized this like a few days ago. And I really had to think about it, and I started thinking about, you know, why am I so scared to, I don't know, go live or do something? Like, what is holding me back from doing that? And I realized, like, right when I had that thought, 2 people popped into my head, and I was like, oh yeah, I don't want to mess up in front of those two people. So that's why I feel hesitant about this. So really think about it. See if anyone pops up in your mind when you think about messing up. Just think about the people that you are worried will judge you and write them down, because those are the people, and they may be perfectly amazing people, but for some reason they're just making you feel that negative energy. And you know, there's multiple reasons for that, but once you identify who it is, now you have some options. So number 2, you're going to take that list of those people and you're going to cut the toxic people. So that's the first thing you're going to do with those names on your list. So if there's people that you don't want to see fail, that you don't want to see you fail because you think that they're going to make fun of you or judge you or be mean to you or like spread rumors about you, any type of negative energy, if they're giving that out, those are people that you need to cut. On your list of people, you can put like a star next to those names, and those are people that you're going to have to start distancing yourself from because they're giving you negative energy, and that's not cool. You should not be scared to go for something. You should not be scared to make mistakes because you're worried you're going to get bullied or made fun of and stuff like that. Is not what a friendship is supposed to be. Friendships are supposed to be there to pick you up when you do make mistakes, like otherwise that's not a friendship. So yeah, the main point is you want your friend circle to be supportive and you have to have their backs too. Get rid of the toxic people. It's easier said than done. Number 2, these are the people that you are worried you're going to disappoint or you're going to look weird in front of, or like not necessarily people who are negative, but just your internal thoughts are making you scared to perform in front of this person for one reason or another. Like maybe you like them, or maybe you don't want to disappoint them because you look up to them and you want to do well for them. Maybe you want them to be proud of you and you're worried like if you mess up they're not going to be proud of you. These are the people that are like generally good people, but it's just like your own internal conflict going on. So with those people, you definitely don't want to cut them out, but there are ways to kind of get around that, I guess. So you can either block them from seeing your content. If you're like worried about posting or something that you're putting out on social media, there is actually a way on your profile, your personal profile, and your page actually, where you can block someone from seeing that, and I can show you that in the next video. I think that's what I'm going to do because I think that would be helpful for some people. I use it now too, and there's ways you can like create lists of people by topic, or you can only show content to 1 or 2 people and still post it onto your timeline. So yeah, I think that would be cool. For the next video I'll show you how to do that. But yeah, I'm so out of breath right now. But yeah, okay, so that's the first thing you can do, is just block them from your content if it's on social media. It's gonna be a little bit harder in person, but I would say if you don't have to perform in front of them, then try not to give too much detail about what you're doing. Like if you're worried about what they're gonna think, or you're worried you're gonna mess up, then don't tell them until you succeed, and then you can open up to them about it. Because I think what we tend to do is we tend to be premature in telling things to people. So like if we get a potential client or something and we get really excited about it and we want to tell people, but then if it falls through, we feel bad that we had just told those people because now we have to tell them it didn't work out. And so keep like prospects and potential things to yourself until they actually come through and you actually finish up the job, and then you can share it with that person, because then you don't have to worry that something's going to go wrong, and they'll be able to celebrate your success with you. Man, I cannot speak tonight. Okay. So for people that you do want to keep in your life, just if something happens that you're excited about, wait to tell them until it actually goes through. And yeah, that way you can avoid telling them mistakes as they arise. But it's not always avoidable, and that is something that you have to work through, because you have to trust that if this person is such a good person and you look up to them so much, or they're such a good friend, like, you have to trust that they're gonna stick by you even if you mess up. And that is really hard to get over and, like, do things anyway. I know for me, I have a really weird sense of humor, and I like posting skits and things. I do worry sometimes that there are friends that I have that are not going to understand my humor, and they're going to think it's totally weird and judge me for it, but I also know that they're good people, and so, like, even if they don't necessarily understand it, I know they're still going to support me anyway. But I still feel a little bit hesitant every time I post, because I'm like, oh, I wonder what these certain people are going to think. Again, it's only like 1 or 2 people now, because I feel like the majority of us know who I am and know I'm kind of crazy, so, yeah. But, it's always interesting when you have new people join your Facebook, because you never know how they're going to respond to your content and stuff. So, yeah, it's a slow process. You're gonna feel anxious when you post it. You're gonna worry what people think about you, but don't let that stop you. So that's number 3, is, like, ultimately, don't let anyone dictate what you do. Don't let your internal feelings about someone, your worries about someone that you have projected onto them that they never did to you or aren't going to do to you. Like, don't let fear of judgment or fear of someone thinking you're weird stop you from being you and going for it and potentially messing up, because the right people are going to stick with you, and you should not have to suppress part of your personality or not go for your dreams or whatever it is you're trying to achieve just because you're worried about what one person thinks. Like, don't give them that much power. We're talking about your life here. We're talking about your personality and your business, or your goals, or your dreams. Like, why would you put those 2 things? Why would you let someone control what you do in those 2 areas? Like, a single person. There's 7 billion people in this world. I think there's more than that now. But don't give power to that one person. The only person you should be giving that power to is you. So you're going to feel uncomfortable sometimes, and you're going to worry about judgment. But don't let that stop you, because it's just a blip in time. If someone is mean to you about it, it's just a blip in your day. Whereas the thing that you're trying to achieve is your life. So I would rather sacrifice, my feelings for, like, a few minutes or a few hours in the day, getting mocked or judged or not having someone understand you. I would rather experience that and keep going towards my goal than just stop what I'm doing and live a life that is ordinary, or that everyone else lives, or a life that I didn't want, but I am only living because I'm scared to take that leap because of judgment. So, yeah, don't let people make decisions for you. That's the 3rd one. Okay, so we have 1, write a list of the people that are bothering you and get rid of the toxic people. Number 2, don't share your successes right away with people. Keep them to yourself until they actually come through, so that way you don't have to worry about, like, sharing good news and then having to take it back, because that's when, you can feel that guilt and that hurt of telling someone who you look up to, like, things didn't work out. So if you want to avoid that, then keep things to yourself longer, a little bit longer, even though you're super excited and you want to tell them. Another thing that can help is journaling. So if you feel like you have to tell someone something, I know this works for me, I journal it out, or else I blab all over the internet, like, to my friends about things that they don't necessarily need to listen to or understand. So when I get in those moods, I journal, and it tends to help, or I vlog, and that helps as well. Don't ultimately just make your own decisions, and even though you feel uncomfortable or worried about what people are going to say if you mess up, you only have 1 shot at this life. The only one you should be giving power to is you, and then you just need to trust that the right people are going to stick around whether or not you fail or not. So I hope that helped. I hope that kind of changed your perspective about failure a little bit. Yeah, it's just a lot of things to think about. Really, all it is just analyzing where that fear is coming from and then figuring out how you can fix it, because that's all going to come from you. You can't expect other people to fix that fear or those insecurities for you. So hopefully I gave you some tools to at least start working on that, so you do have the ability to go for your dreams and do what you want to do in life, because that's really all I want to see you do, is to be happy and to be living a life where you feel fulfilled. Say that 10 times fast. Yeah, but that's my biggest wish. Like, I wish everyone could be happy and, you know, get to do what they love every day, whether that's business or hobby or lifestyle. And don't worry what other people think, and it's easier said than done. It just takes practice, and it just takes your ability to ignore the negativity and keep going anyway, even though you have your little brain gremlins that are trying to convince you that people are going to think it's some huge deal if you make a mistake somewhere, because I guarantee you no one really cares that much, and even if they do, it's because of their own insecurities, and they're gonna find something else to pick on somewhere after you, and you'll be forgotten after a while. And I hope that you will be brave enough to continue on your path or start your path and fail your little heart out, because it's gonna happen multiple times. I still mess up. Yeah, I'm nowhere near where I want to be. And yeah, it's just part of the process, and you learn to appreciate it for what it is, which is a way to gather information on how to do things better. So you can, if we're speaking in business terms, so you can serve your future clients even better. And eventually, you're going to run out of mistakes you can make, and you're gonna be almost freaking perfect. So yeah, don't even think that failure ends everything, because there's so much beyond failure. There's trial and error, and eventually when you keep going, there's success, and there's even things beyond success. But I can't talk about that yet, because in my terms, I am not successful yet. I have a long ways to go for that. So we'll get into that once I get there. But yes, I believe in you. I know you can do the thing. Don't let other people stop you. Don't let your own brain stop you. Don't let your fear stop you. Don't let failure stop you, because you're never going to get going, because failure's always there, and it doesn't have to be failure. It's mistakes, it's learning experiences, it's a good thing. Yeah, so just reframe your brain and how you view that. But yeah, okay, I've been talking a long time. I'm gonna get off now. But I hope that helped. I love you guys very much, and I really care about all of you. Even if we've never met, I always say that. I love my internet friends, and my face-to-face friends the same. You guys are awesome, and I just want to see you be happy and not have mental blocks and things, and I hope I can help you with that. Or at least keep you entertained, or make you laugh with some of my content. Okay, I'm good enough. Love you guys, and I will talk to you soon. Have a great night. Bye. Where's the button? I can't see the button. I'm not wearing glasses. How do I turn this off? That's my outro, guys. Isn't it epic? Okay, goodbye.